guys, so today I'm going to be doing the first and last book tag, and I know this tag isn't really going around much anymore. I haven't seen lots of people do it more recently, but I've seen past videos of this tag. I'm not sure who created this tag, and also nobody tagged me, but I just thought the questions were very interesting and I liked the concept, so I'm very excited to be sharing with you guys my answers for this tag today, so I'm just gonna get started. The first question is, what was the first video you posted and what was the last video you posted? The first video I ever posted is actually called My Current Beauty Favorites, in which I discuss makeup products that I was currently using and interested in and liked. I did beauty videos for about a year until I converted my channel into a booktube channel. Thank God that I did. I don't think I was a successful beauty guru at all, so I'm really happy I'm done with that. Happy it's in the past. I think the video is still up. I'll link it down below if you want to see it. It literally has like 10 views or something, and it's just the most awkward video you will ever see of me, so just beware if you're gonna go watch it. The last video that I posted is a video talking about my bookish pet peeves, and I'll have that linked down below if you haven't watched it yet. Question 2. Who was the first booktuber you watched and who was the last booktuber you watched and what video? The first booktuber I ever watched was Bookworm's Talk with Hannah, and it was a book talk on Beautiful Disaster. I had just read Beautiful Disaster and I was so into it I wanted to hear other people's opinions on it, so I went on YouTube, typed in Beautiful Disaster to see if anything would come up, and I saw this girl talking about a book and I was like, wow, this is a cool concept. I didn't know people made videos talking about books like this, and I started watching a bunch of her videos, and that's how I really got interested in the new adult genre. So thanks, Hannah. That really is a help to my channel that you like basically introduced me to new adult books. So yeah, that was the first booktube video I ever watched. The last one, I'm not sure. I'll check my history on my phone on my YouTube to see. The last booktube video I watched was Reagan at the Peruse Project. It's her May TBR. It's the last booktube video I watched. I love Reagan. I'll have both of those booktubers linked down below in case you're interested. But yeah, moving on to question 3 is, what is the first book you remember buying and what is the last book you bought? The first book that I remember buying is actually really funny. It's kind of a picture book, and that is The Berenstain Bears and Too Much Birthday. Now, I own about 20 of these Berenstain Bears books, but I clearly remember buying this one, and I remember I was with my family and we were on a skiing trip in New Hampshire or Vermont, one of those, probably Vermont now that I'm thinking about it. I think it was Vermont, and we walked down to this little store and they had these little books and I was like, Mom, I want to buy this one, and I remember I bought it and it was such a great day, and I just loved these books when I was younger, and this is like the first book I bought. I'm not sure if it was asking if it had to be like a chapter book or something, but this is like a picture book, but you know, the Berenstain Bears, I loved these books, so yeah, first book I bought. And the last book that I recently bought is Unravel Me by Tahira Mafi, the second book in the Shatter Me trilogy, so yeah, that's exciting. Haven't read it yet, but you know, I'm getting there. Question 4. What is the first novel you remember reading all by yourself, and what was the last novel you read? I'm not sure if this really counts as like a novel, but the first like chapter book I can remember reading is the How I Survived Middle School book. This is a bind-up of the first 3 books. So the first one is Can You Get an F in Lunch? The second one is Madam President, and the third is I Heard a Rumor. I used to read these when I was younger and I loved them. So like here is like the first book, and then like the second book and the third book. But yes, I remember reading this. I read the whole series, but I do remember reading this first book, and I remember doing it on my own and loving it, and I was obsessed. So yeah, first book I read on my own. And the last novel that I read is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. So I'm getting to Unravel Me soon, but I'm just reading the novella that goes in between them right now. But yes, I loved this book, and I will definitely have a series book talk on this later. But yeah, last novel that I read. Next question is, what is the first dystopian novel you ever read, and what was the last dystopian novel you read? And for this one, I feel like I'm going to shock a bunch of you right now. I'm pretty sure none of you know that I've read this book, and I didn't really realize I've read it until I was looking at my bookshelves. I was like, what was the first? And I saw this, and I was like, that's a dystopian book, isn't it? And that is The Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, and I read this book. I have not read the whole series. I've only read book 1, but I did read it, and it's a dystopian book, and I read it when I was quite younger. I think I was like 12 or something, like really young, back when I didn't really know my books and what I liked and stuff. My brother had read this book and I was really interested in it, so I read it, and I do remember really liking it. I would love to reread the whole series because I think that would be awesome. You can tell that this is one of my older books because like look at the spine is bent and it's like all like gross. Like you can tell I did not take care of my books back then, and like with the other ones, like I showed you guys this, like look at how like bad I did not take care of my books when I was younger. Like girl, gotta get a grip on that's the first dystopian book I ever read, and the last is obviously Shatter Me because it was the last book that I read and it's dystopian. So yes, Shatter Me. Question 6. What was the first paranormal romance you ever read and what was the last? The first one is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I read the whole series and I loved this stuff. It was like my thing when I was younger. I was one of the people that was super into this series when it was like coming out and all that stuff. This is the ugliest cover I've ever seen. I used to have the one with the apple. I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. I think I might have gave it to someone and I don't even know. This is my brother's copy, but I keep it on my shelf because it looks awkward to just have the 3 books and not have Twilight. So I took his because he doesn't care. And it's the one with like the people on it. It's so ugly. Oh my god, I hate it. But yeah, anyway, first paranormal romance that I ever read. And the last paranormal romance that I've read is probably Breaking Dawn, now that I'm thinking about it. I was going to say Twilight, but it's got to be Breaking Dawn because I read the whole series and I haven't read paranormal romance since. So yeah, Twilight and then Breaking Dawn, I guess. I didn't bring it over here because I was just going to say Twilight, but I guess Breaking Dawn makes more sense. So yeah, those are the 2. Question 7. What was the first book that made you cry and what was the last book that made you cry? The first book that I think ever made me cry was Charlotte's Web. I don't know who that's by, but Charlotte's Web I remember reading in 3rd grade and I remember being truly upset by that book, and I don't know if I cried, but I remember being upset. So that's probably the best answer you're gonna get out of me. And the last book that I remember crying at is Requiem by Lauren Oliver. It wasn't anything too extreme, but you know, a couple tears here and there at the end of this book definitely happened. I'm not going to deny it. So yeah, Requiem by Lauren Oliver. Question 8. What was the first entire series you completed and what was the last series you completed? For the first series, I'm pretty sure it's Twilight. Again, to go with Twilight, I think it's the first series I've ever read. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the first series, and the last full series that I read was the Delirium trilogy / series by Lauren Oliver, and I have a book talk on that. If you want, I'll have it linked down below. But yeah. Number 9. What was the first book you couldn't push yourself to finish and what was the last book you couldn't finish? The first book that I couldn't push myself to finish is Twisted by Sara Shepard. If you don't know, this is a part of the Pretty Little Liars series, and I was a really big fan of the Pretty Little Liars series when I was younger. I had read books 1 through 8 back when they were just like set in stone, 1 through 8. Those were the only books in the series. But then all of a sudden, Sara Shepard came out and was like, actually, I'm gonna add to the series and we're gonna make more books, which wasn't an original plan. The plan was the 8 books and that was gonna be it. So I read the 8 books, and then by the time this book came out, I was kind of over the series, but I still wanted to try it out. So I started reading it and it just did not happen for me. I think I got like a couple chapters in until I was like, nah, I don't want to read this anymore. And I have like this book and like the 2 that come after this, and I'm sure there's like 100 more now. I literally go to Barnes & Noble and I see all these books and I'm like, she's still making Pretty Little Liars books? That's insane. But yeah, I did not get through this book, sadly. In my current reading habits, I do try to get through books even if they're boring me, but the last book that I remember really trudging through and skipping on a couple chapters and, you know, skimming it is probably Love and Other Perishable Items by Lara Buzo. And I read this book kind of, like, I read half of it and then it just got really boring for me and I just wasn't interested in the characters. I didn't really feel anything for them. I didn't think it was that interesting. I just wasn't feeling this book. I don't know what went on, but yeah, that's the thing. Number 10. Who is the first person you tag and who is the last person you will tag? Well, because this tag, like, isn't going on anymore, I don't see anybody doing it, I'm not really gonna tag anybody. I'll tag any of you guys that want to do the tag, and you can say that I tagged you, you know. I would love to see all of your videos. I love watching your guys' videos when you tell me, I'm gonna do this tag. Literally link me, tweet me your link to the video, or post it down below. I will go watch it, and I'll comment on it, and I'll like it. So do that, and I will watch your video if you want to do this tag or any other tag. You can always say that I tagged you. So yes, I hope that was an enjoyable tag video. I really did like the questions. I thought that was kind of an interesting take on a tag video. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, make sure you like and subscribe if you have not already, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye!